Hey guys, this is your review of Old Ironside. We are now officially in um, the editing portion of the test. So we finished revising Old Ironside's editing. So editing is about what's right and what's wrong. So these are grammar questions, punctuation, spelling, that kind of a thing. All right, so this passage actually looks at um, Old Ironsides, which is the USS Constitution, so it's about a ship. Now, here's the deal. For the revising portions, you need to read the whole thing. For the editing portion, you can go question by question, sentence by sentence, and just look at the errors it tells you. These are the only passages that's the case for. Revising you have to read, the reading portions you have to read. Um, this, especially if you're going to be tight on time, you can just look at the sentences it tells you to. All right, so we're going to start with number 12. What change, if any, should be made to sentence 1? And then you have 3 choices. Comma after Navy, shipbuilders, adding an apostrophe, or changing the spelling of busily. Guys, there's no reason to ever miss a spelling question because you can use dictionaries. So if you are even remotely unsure, get a dictionary and then you would automatically know, yeah, that's the right way to spell busily or not. All right, so we are looking at sentence 1 here. In the late 1700s, as a new American nation was creating its first navy, shipbuilders were busily constructing a great vessel. And you could hear me do that, read it with the pause. So our correct answer is going to be that we need a comma after navy. Because the American nation wasn't creating its first Navy shipbuilders. Like, oh, we're going to build some shipbuilders. That's not what happened. So we've got to have a comma there. The reason we don't need the apostrophe is that shipbuilders is not possessive. They're not owning something. Shipbuilders were busily constructing. That's what they were doing, not something that they were owning. Okay, so because of that, our correct answer is F. And we did pretty well on that. 78% of us got that right. A fairly significant portion, 17%, chose J, make no change, which is incorrect because we've got to have that pause after Navy. Otherwise, the sentence doesn't make sense. All right, number 13, how should sentence 6 be changed? This is another question dealing with possessiveness. Possessiveness. It's late, guys. So our correct answer here is B. Ships should not be possessive, so let's look at that again, sentence 6. The newly commissioned vessel was initially assigned to defend other U.S. ships from pirate attacks. So again, this is plural ships, more than one, other U.S. ships. The ships don't own pirate attacks, so it's not possessive, so no apostrophe there. We did well on that one, about 89%, so that's good. Number 14, what change needs to be made in sentence 10? And I was just surprised that we did as well on this one as we did. While watching shot after shot strike the side of the vessel and fall, and here is our problem, fall harmlessly is what it should read instead of harmless into the water because harmless is an adjective and we need an adverb because harmless is describing how they fell. And so ly makes it an adverb. All right. We did well on that one, 96%, so that's great. Almost all of us got that one. Then number 15. What is the correct way to write sentence 13? Okay. So here's the deal. They're going to give you several sentences. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the correct one is, and then we'll look at why the others are not. So D is our correct answer. 80% of us got that one. The accomplishments of Old Ironsides helped unite Americans behind the war effort, boosting morale and ending the myth that Britain's Royal Navy was invincible. Okay, that's a good sentence. Let's look at A and what's wrong with it. The accomplishments of Old Ironsides helped unite Americans behind the war effort, period. So far, so good. Boosting morale and ending the myth that Britain's Royal Navy was invincible. Well, the problem is that that little segment right there is a fragment. Boosting morale and ending the myth that Britain's Royal Navy was invincible. What happened? I don't know. They didn't tell us. It's a fragment. Okay? So we're looking for things that are grammatically correct. A fragment is not grammatically correct. Choice B, the accomplishments of old Ironsides helping unite Americans behind the war effort, boosting morale, and ending the myth that Britain's Royal Navy was invincible. The problem here is that we have another fragment. And the reason is because of the verbs. The accomplish of old Ironsides helping and the boosting of morale and ending the myth. What did those things all do? We don't know. So we've got another fragment. And then C. The accomplishments of old Ironsides helped unite Americans behind the war effort by boosting morale. That sounds good. And ending the myth that Britain's Royal Navy was invincible. And we have our same old problem again. Have another fragment. All right. So that is why D has to be the right choice. It's the only one that is not a fragment. All right, and then number 16, what change should be made to sentence 21? Let's find it. Planes flew overhead and citizens cheered. Sailors aboard two modern naval warships stood at attention as they passed. The problem is that this is passed as in history, not went by the historic ship. So this is a homonym issue. Our correct answer is J, past to past. Okay, the spelling. And again, you would easily deduce that if you used your dictionary. 96% of us got this one right, so it was really good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our first editing segment. If you'll look on your makeup slide there, oops, you will see that you need to do editing questions. Okay, so if you need to make up some of these questions for more credit, then that is the link to follow. Thanks, guys.